Well, welcome to our Healy Play Time. It's Saturday, the 18th of 2023, and thank you for joining me. Um, and I'd like to just, we can just play here, ask questions, no need to wait or raise your hand or anything. Just kind of unmute yourself and and share and ask away.
Okie
Um,
dokie.
So the first thing I want to cover, because maybe some people do not are not aware of this yet, is that there is, and I choose to know if this is something that has been covered even in the Healy Hub course that was created by my lineage. But there is an app called the Heal Advisor app. Um, and you can find it under Heal Advisor in your app store. This is what it looks like in the Apple App Store. I choose to know what it would look like in Google Play. Um, so these are the Healy apps that I have. There are two blue apps. This one is the older version of the blue app, and this is the newer version. I think it's the Healy Advisor Analyze, or Heal Advisor Analyze 2, is the name of this one. And then this is the older version with the blue dot down here instead of the whole thing being blue. And there are benefits to both. I like them both. The issue, the cool thing about the new blue app is that often I can start vibrating remedies or a program to myself in that blue app, and I can actually um, move into another app, and that will continue going. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries to get it to stay, so I'll need to hit vibrate, and then I'll switch apps to something else that I desire to do on my smartphone because, I don't know about you, but it's a little inconvenient to have to keep that app open for the whole time that I'm vibrating because I might desire to do something else while I'm vibrating those remedies. So, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Have you found that too?
Yes.
So with this one, it's a little glitchy, but you're able to do that. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. But I have found that if I'm trying to vibrate things to someone else and not myself in the app, then I have to keep it open. So it's not the best solution, but it's a pretty cool thing that you can do here. There are a couple of other differences between these apps. You may find that you just like this one better, or if you're used to this one, then stay with it. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up the Heal Advisor app is that when the Healy comes to you, it defaults to a like 25% factory setting, meaning that when you hit 100%, when you go up to 100% in the pink app, when you're doing your microcurrent or your coil, it's going to be doing, I believe it's 25%. I could be off a little bit on that percentage, but um and I believe this was related to an issue that they had earlier with some wristbands that they were using that were not quite as sturdy as the ones that they're using now. So if like you may like it being at the 25% setting, that might be perfect for you. For me, I like to feel things a little bit, like, so I will sometimes, when I have the wrist straps on, I will kind of crank it up to where I start to feel a little something, and then I'll back off a little bit. There's different points of view. People say you shouldn't really feel it. You don't need to feel it. I think it's a personal preference thing. I have found both to be just fine for me, so part of this whole journey is just really figuring out what is your unique experience, what's your unique expression and relationship and partnership with the Healy. So I'm going to, I believe, I believe I can show you how to do that.
Could I
Uh,
ask a question?
sure.
So on the two blue apps that you spoke about,
Mhm.
So it is okay to have both of them and use both of them interchangeably based upon what you desire at the time from the app.
Yes, totally fine to use them both. I mean, I believe the lists and the scans and the things that you've done in one app will not necessarily transfer over to the other app.
Right,
You may have something that you've done in one version that you keep. Um, and if you have more than one Healy, you can use them both, if if you can get this one to vibrate
right,
while
okay,
while it's, you know, while it's off screen, let's say.
right.
Um,
Thanks.
and this one in the Aura scan and the coaching scan, this one you can pretty much type when you're setting your intention or your focus for the scan. The old Blue app, um, you have all the space you require to type stuff in. In the new Blue app, you have a limited number of characters that you can use. So, if you're really desiring to be a little bit more intentional and weave a strong intention together that might require more words, you might need to use this app to do that scan. So there is, in that Heal Analyze app, there is that's one cool place. It's not an app that a lot of people use. I don't use it very often, but I have used it. Like, if you can go in and search for a specific issue that you're dealing with, say it's a medical condition or you're having trouble with insomnia or sleep or whatever it is, you can do a search in that Heal Analyze app that I was just showing you, and I'll bring that back up on the screen so you can see it. Um, and it will give you a list. So it's this app right here. It'll give you a list of programs that have been helpful for that condition or that are linked to that condition. So, and then you can actually even, I think, um, click on it and it'll open up the pink app for you to run that program. So that's helpful. But the main thing that I was wanting to convey about that was you can go in to the Heal Advisor settings in that app, and you can go in, connect to your Healy, and change the default to 100%. For your Healy. So, if you've not been noticing as much with the microcurrent, um, I would recommend going in and changing that default setting.
Would you like to share how that's done? I assume it's under settings.
So you're going to go into the settings down at the bottom, My Healy. Click on My Healy. Yeah, and then you can switch. So mine are both set to high current at the moment. So you can switch it to the low current or the high current, depending on what yours is already set to.
So low current
Yep.
is the 25 or whatever percentage that is default, and then high current is the 100%.
Right. High current it'll give you the max, that the Healy can do if you turn it up to 100%. So you still have the freedom of change, just doing 10% if you want to do that. So I would just recommend going in and making it high current, um, personally, but you can choose to do what you desire.
Mhm.
Um, and then do you want to go into search? you see the search box, the little magnifying glass at the bottom of that Heal Advisor app.
Uh-huh.
So just hit that and then type in like what's an issue that you're maybe wanting to focus on.
Let's do sleep.
Sleep. So type in sleep and let's see. Sleep.
For me, it says sleep, sleep one, sleep two, and sleep three.
So click on sleep or just tap the sleep in the search results. And then you'll see at the bottom it has like the sleep digital, so a list of programs will come up that's connected to that topic.
And these will be programs that I have available to use.
Not necessarily, this might be all programs. So I mean, I think for you, you have all of these programs, yes. But
Okay.
and I think there's, you saw the sleep one, sleep two, sleep three in the search results. There's there's also you can click on one of the other ones and it kind of gives you they're just different programs linked to that issue that they've
Uh,
kind of collected in a specific group.
yeah, this is helpful. I've had this app downloaded, but this is like just the first time I really gone into it and explored it. It's helpful.
Yeah. So what else maybe? Um Anxiety. So let's do anxiety. And I get Psyche 29, Psyche 6, and harmonization when taking agents 11. You know, it's interesting the results that will come up. And with Healy needing to be really mindful of compliance, it's like they can't claim that anything will heal anything.
Hmm.
So, so the Psyche 29 brings up inner strength systemic. Under mental balance, it brings up the Vata, the power of three, which Vata is all mental energy. It's that dosha connected to the mental. Conflict balance under the power of three. Um, Classical physical under the power of three. Mental balance acute under mental balance. Psyche under digital nutrition mixtures. Relax under the gold cycle. So there's a number of programs that you could choose from, and you could douse which one of these would be helpful for me or muscle test. um, it's just another way to access the depths of what the Healy can address, so you can type in a disease. Let's see, I have had blood sugar issues, so I'm going to type in diabetes and it brings up 4 different lists of programs. And of course, spleen, pancreas, meridian comes up, um, friendly flora, pitta, vata, liver harmony, tissue harmony, hormone harmony. So it can give you ideas of what programs might actually be related to that issue, right? Fatty degeneration, weight, comfort. Um, and I think it's helpful to just get out that PDF that you have. Maybe I'll send another version, another copy of it with the replay link
Hmm.
that lists all the programs that you have, and to really kind of go through and like look at what you're sending to yourself so you can get a sense of like what is this really addressing. It doesn't list all the frequencies that are in it except for the digital nutrition mixtures. It will give you the list of the supplements or the nutrients that particular program is sending to you, which can be really helpful. But just being aware, kind of the more that you can kind of take in the knowledge of what this thing is doing, the more that you can benefit from it and access more of your intuition around it. Any questions on that search function or anything there?
So a question. So in my search, I just typed in digestion, and what I get as choices are Harmony Digestion 5, 9, 11, and 13.
Mhm.
What do they do? Would I get different choices or options under that if I pick different ones there?
So let me just type in digestion so I can see what you're talking about. Um, so each one of those results is is kind of it's a name for a group of programs that Healy has kind of created. Now I choose to know if there's a way to access like a resource that has all these like listed in it,
Huh.
but you can just click on, you can go through all four of them and just see, what are the different programs. So Healy Digestion 5, it brings up a lot of different programs, and sometimes, like stress, acute. If you're under stress, acutely under stress, is that going to affect your digestion? Yeah, it
Right.
is. So it just gives you pointers and ideas, right? So
I
you can go on and click on one of the other ones, right? And
right. I do seem to get a little different results, but a lot of them cross over based upon which one I select.
I wish I knew more about like what the difference is between the different like Harmony Digestion 5, Harmony Digestion 9. I wish I knew like what,
Uh-huh.
you know, how they come up with those names, but I don't. So I choose to let that be okay. Uh,
Right.
so yeah, you've got lots of choices. So that's a helpful app, um, to just give you pointers to what programs might be helpful for certain issues, and then also to change your current on your Healy device. Um,
Great.
any anything that you've been running into with the Healy that you have questions around, or excuse me, or anything that you any wins that you'd like to share? Anything that you've noticed that's been really helpful?
Uh, well, I've been using it mostly for a lot for vibrating flower essences and homeopathic remedies using the Blue app
Mhm.
to myself and to my cat to socks.
Right.
And I mean, they feel supportive.
Mhm.
That's
How do you
mostly
how do you register that? What do you notice?
I guess I just feel supported.
Mhm.
I'm choosing to feel supported
Mhm.
when I use it. Sometimes I can do some when I do some of the coil um, or straps on my wrist. When I do some of the relax programs, um, I notice like a change in my physiology. Like I notice like I will start yawning or feeling like I'm actually responding to the current being delivered and noticing it in my physiology, just releasing tension.
Mhm.
Uh,
Beautiful.
I've mostly been using the coil, and I've been told that the microcurrent is has very unique application properties and is good to include that more regularly in my cycle of use. I
Yeah,
find them to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. um,
they can get in the way, but you can choose to, like, what I will do is I will, if I'm going to be up and about doing something, I will put on my Healy wrist straps and plug it into my Healy, and then put on my shirt so that my shirt, the straps go through my shirt, and then I just pull the Healy up from the top of my shirt and just kind of clip it up here
mhm,
or somewhere up here, so that the wires are not just hanging freely. They're up in my shirt and kind of out of the way. I
mhm,
have found that to be really helpful. Or I will run those programs while I'm meditating, because I do meditate for like an hour every day, and I'll put on the wrist straps while I'm meditating.
Right. That's
But
what I
yeah,
was just thinking it'd be a good space for integrating that to my time that I'm already going to be quiet and still.
exactly. And you can even, yeah. The wrist straps and the microcurrent through the wrist straps are important, and I can fall into a habit of not using them enough, but I think they recommend using at least one or two programs from the microcurrent and the wrist straps a day. And the thing about the microcurrent is that it's going directly into the physical, and the microcurrent has that ability to penetrate into the cells and to raise the voltage of the cells. So you're not just getting the frequencies because the frequencies ride on the microcurrent. So the microcurrent is delivering the frequencies to your physiology.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you're doing the coil, the frequencies are being delivered to your field, so it's not necessarily so in the physical.
Mm-hmm.
And the microcurrent, besides having the frequencies, you have that capacity to increase the voltage of the cells, which, you know, low cell voltage has been linked to disease and cancer and all these things. So this raising the cell voltage has global effects for health, apart from the frequency. So you're getting that double whammy of raising cell voltage plus getting the frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Would you see an advantage or disadvantage to, I have pretty small ankles as well. Could I put the straps on my ankles? That way
Yeah.
it would free up my hands for, just doing dishes or whatever.
Yes, and you could just run them through your shorts or your pants, and clip it on your pants or something. My ankles are a little bit big. I've tried using the wrist straps for my ankles. Um,
Okay.
I have a bigger frame, so it doesn't work for me. But yes, that would be a great option. So you can have your hands free. Um, and yeah, I think even some of the meridians, like you can actually look and see where does that meridian start, and you could even use the patches and put the patches on the starting point of the meridian, like in the foot. I mean, you obviously would have to set aside a little time to be off your feet. Um, but that's one way to take the experience even deeper is to stick the electrodes on the foot in the area. Just get kind of general with it, or as specific as you know how to be, and then run the meridian program directly into that spot. So it's really increasing the intention and the energy going to that meridian. Um, and then all the pain programs are really designed to be done locally, really. So if you have a headache, the patches are meant to be kind of like the upper neck um, the mastoid process back here. So you would stick them as close to the head as you can. Um,
What if you had more of a frontal headache? Would it be an
could
advantage
do
to?
that. You could do that. You could put them on the front, uh,
Mhm.
and then just lay down and rest and receive.
So a lot of freedom and a lot of flexibility to just
Oh, totally,
play with it.
totally, yes, for sure. Um, and you're also aware that you can't have both programs open at the same time. Connect the
Yes,
app and the blue app. You got to close out the one that you were using if you want to open up a new app.
right. It seems
Completely
it doesn't
out.
even, if one is open, it won't even let you open the other program. I usually get just a blank colored screen
Oh,
when I try
interesting.
to open it. It's like, oh, I've got my other app open. I need to go close that.
Yeah, for me, usually it's like it doesn't find my Healy. It's like can't find a device. So because it's still connected to the old app, to the other app that was open. So once
Mhm.
once I close out that connection, then it'll find it. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's interesting, different things.
You
So
may like to share about the turning the Bluetooth off once you get a program running in the I guess it's the Pink app.
Yeah, so with the Pink app, you can't like so the Healy can only have one program downloaded to it at a time. That's what your app is for. Your app is connects to the cloud. It'll send via Bluetooth the program that you've selected to the Healy. And that's where you see the blue and the green dots blinking really fast because it's downloading the program to the Healy. And once you have it downloaded and it started, and then you've changed your intensity to what you desire it to be, you can then hit the little like it looks like a battery and a Bluetooth in the top right corner of the program of the app. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you know what this is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you can see, got
The
it.
way that you have your Zoom set up is blurry.
Yeah, I've got it set to blur, but um, you can just click that icon in the top right corner that has a battery icon and a Healy icon, and then switch off the Bluetooth because you don't need the Bluetooth to run the Pink app. So if you're worried about being exposed to Bluetooth, which what I've been told is that the Healy uses a very low frequency or low output of Bluetooth, so it's not like a really strong Bluetooth signal. Um, but maybe you're sensitive to EMF or to Bluetooth, so you can turn it off and run the program without the Bluetooth, and the Healy will just stop blinking when it's done running the program. That's a
You got
good.
to keep your Healy and your phone close if you're in the blue app vibrating, because I think the strength of the signal is, like you said, not that great. So if you walk to the bathroom, it
Yeah,
just
you
I,
pretty much have to stay in the same room with your
uh,
phone and Healy if you're using the Blue app, and you have to keep the Bluetooth on. So, if you're worried about Bluetooth, you could have your phone or an iPad or some other device that you downloaded the apps to. You could connect it in another room and let it
mhm,
let it do its thing in another room, so you're not being exposed to the Bluetooth. But you're
mhm,
still getting the vibration because the vibration is quantum. There's no space or distance.
mhm. Could could you speak a little bit about the selection of the intensity? It seems to default to 15, and you can go all the way up to 100. And mostly what I've heard is it's use what you desire to. Is there anything um, more guidance around? Is more always better? Is less?
Not necessarily. I mean, um, it's really up to you. It's an individualized microcurrent frequency device. So individualized being the operative word, in my opinion.
Right.
So you get to develop your own relationship to what feels good to you. If we're talking about the wrist straps
You
in
can
the
feel it.
in the pink app, at some point, as you increase the intensity, you're going to feel a little bit of a sensation. I mean, it's not like a TENS unit where you're going to get zapped, but you might feel a little bit of a buzz or a little bit of a sensation. That might feel okay to you. That might annoy you. So if it annoys you, or if you try that out at that level for a program and you feel like that was a little bit too much, then that's a good indication you need to back off.
Mhm,
What I would recommend is maybe going up to that level where you feel it and then back off like a couple. But you could also muscle test or douse like what's the appropriate level for me. Because you really do not need to feel
mhm,
microcurrent in order for it to be working.
mhm,
So you could just run it at 15% and you'd be getting the benefits. You know, I had heard that there was a way to change that default 15% setting, but I've yet to be able to find out where I can do that. I would love to be able to set it to 50% so I can go up or down. But
That's a starting point, right?
Mhm. For me, in the microcurrent, I typically go anywhere from 40 to 60%, depending on the program, depending on the day. I mean, sometimes I'm more hydrated than other days and I feel it quicker. So, I mean, hydration is a big part. You may You may need to wet the skin. Some people will put like a little wet paper towel, like a paper towel, and put that between their skin and the electrode or the wristband, just to moisten, just to kind of wet the skin so that there's more of a contact, because it does need to have moisture. Hydration is important for that. Um, I have found that I don't require that. Um,
I've
and
needed that.
you have.
Uh,
So what have you can you talk about what your experience with that was?
I get better. I feel I get sometimes, not always, but sometimes I get better. It feels better connected, and I get less error that says that it's not
It's not been
it's not
delivered.
being delivered.
Mhm,
And a lot of times I'll just lick it,
mhm.
and that seems to resolve it. That's what I have handy.
Yeah,
And,
totally. Great. Now as far as the coil, that's really up to you. I think I tend to prefer to run my coil programs at 100%. You can run them 50% or, whatever number feels good to you. Because you're not going to feel those like like, you might feel them subtly. You might feel a difference between the different levels on a subtle level. Um, but that that choice point is not going to affect your ability to feel it physically, I don't think. I mean, maybe if you're someone who's very kinesthetically sensitive, that may you may feel it. But
mhm.
what do you tend to run your coil programs at?
It's interesting for some reason. What's happened is if it's close to bedtime or nighttime, I'll run it a little bit lower. But if it's during the day and I tend to be more active, I run it higher. Um, that just seems to be what has how it's how it's shown up for me.
Okay, cool.
Uh, I like 55. I like 75. It just it just honestly it feels a little like about you know not the most important thing that I'm picking
I agree. It's not so important
for the coil at
unless
least.
it feels important for you. But yeah, how are you doing any aura or coaching scans?
I've only done the ones that you and I have done together.
Okay. So why don't do you want would you like to do a little experiment together?
Uh-huh, sure.
Okay. So this is something that I've recently um, learned, or because there's ways to, like, you can scan anything. Like, you could put in Bradford Taylor's house. You know, if there's something that you're experiencing in the house that feels like it's a little off, there's energy balance that's needed. You could put in, you could create a client, right? So open up your Blue app. Which Blue app are you using, by the way? So I can.
I have the old one.
Okay, I'm gonna open up the old one. Um, and then we could go into either the coaching or the aura analysis. So what's the biggest area that you're struggling with right now in your life? If you're willing to
Uh,
share, it's totally fine if you'd rather not, if you'd rather pass it.
uh, feeling um, feeling safe and secure in my home at nighttime with just myself.
Mhm. So what you could do is you could actually add, instead of doing that scan under you, Bradford Taylor, you could actually add a new client and go to other. Like, so click on add new client
This is under the
under the
uh,
aura scan. You can do it under the aura or the coaching, either one.
they kind of work the same way.
Well, they're very different apps. I mean, I love the coaching app and the Aura app. They're a little different. So you could create the client and run both scans. We're just gonna
Okay,
let's just run the Aura scan for now.
got it.
Um, so you should have a list of clients, and then you can hit add new client, right?
Bradford Taylor's home.
Well, that's different because that's your home. Let's create add new client and click on other. You see that option?
Add new client, other. Yes.
Yeah. And then let's call this client Bradford Taylor. Bradford Taylor's security and safety at home. How does that sound?
Huh? I like.
So by doing it this way, we're narrowing the focus and the intention of the scan. So you can, just pick an issue that you're dealing with. If you're wanting to work on your inner child, if you're wanting to work on your business, you know, whatever it is, you could put in the website, you could put in the whatever it is. Um, Bradford Taylor's money abundance, Bradford Taylor's abundance, and um, whatever, you can play with it, but
Okay.
as best as possible, stick with positive words that are related to the topic that you're desiring to focus on.
Hmm.
So you can fill in as much of the rest of it as you desire. Um, you could put in your address because that's what comes up there. Um, place of creation is your,
City.
yeah. So you could put in your street address, city, postcode, just to kind of narrow it down, because you did talk about it being at home, right?
Right.
And then I would click on the little icon at the top. Let me see if I can stop um, the blur. So click on this,
Uh-huh.
and take a selfie. And just as before you hit the camera, hold the intention, my safety and security at home. Like
Mm,
like this is an intentional device, so using your intention is hugely important.
okay.
All right. So you've got your photo. Now hold your Healy in your right hand.
I typically use my left for me.
Okay. So yeah, because you're left-handed. So hold your Healy in your left hand and then hit record vibration and hold the intention of my safety and security at home. So you're going to record the vibration of this client, which is, so what we're doing is we're adding layer upon layer of intentional um, complexity to make the scan and the work that the Healy does even more powerful. Okay.
Mhm. We're
So,
using our feeling, I'm using my feeling nature.
mhm. And you could even say out loud, my Bradford Taylor security, and say you could say the name of the client as you hold it if you desire, or just hold the intention. So go ahead and
Mhm.
record the vibration. Hit that little plus.
Needing to find my Healy first.
Okay. So do you have your pink app open? Or you,
I closed it.
You know, it says, please hold your Healy in your right hand, but you can obviously hold it in whatever hand you desire. Some people will hold the Healy in their dominant hand. So for you, that's left. For me, that's right. And then they'll hold it in the non-dominant hand for when they're scanning people that are other people, that are clients or friends or family, just to
Okay,
have
I
that.
recorded my vibration
Okay.
for my
So,
safety and security at home.
right. So now you can go back to that. You can hit this check mark at the top of the screen,
Okay.
hit that check mark, and
Yep.
then your client saved.
And I can go back in later and add more things to it to become even more specific with it, with the
Give me an example of what you're thinking so I know what you're talking about.
if I chose to add the geo coordinates or
Yes, you could go back and edit that later. Yeah.
okay.
Oh, I see. Yeah, down there. You could also, yeah, I think other is fine. You could also probably add this under a person, since it's your specific issue, you could add, instead of hitting other, you could add a person or a client. But this is just the way that I was shown. Um, so now let's go ahead and run. Let's go ahead and run an aura scan.
Okay. Record aura.
Record aura. Yeah. Did it record your aura?
Uh-huh.
Now, which of the chakras were the lowest and were pre-selected by your Healy?
My solar plexus chakra has an energy level of high, 100%. I assume that's the highest.
Yeah, so that's not going to be pre-selected by the Healy. Which ones are selected? Meaning which of the three are the lowest? Do you have this?
Oh,
So have you got this one?
uh-huh. That's where
Okay.
I am.
Okay. So
I need to hit analysis.
no, don't hit that yet. Um, uh, hit these three lines up here on the right upper corner,
Yes, okay.
and it should give you a list of your chakras and then the ones that are selected. But there's a check mark under each one that's selected.
Right. Throat, sacral, and root are the three selected.
Throat, sacral, and root. Yeah. So you could default to what the Healy comes up with. You could also feel into like what chakras are really specific to my sleep, you know? So for you, it's which ones?
Throat,
Root,
sacral, and root.
throat, sacral, and root. Okay. Which that feels pretty good to me. Like you could also think about the brow or the crown and the brow chakra.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because often it's our mind, that's affecting our safety and security, right? Root is
Right.
obviously deeply connected to that sense of safety and security. That's a big theme of the root chakra.
Right.
So you could just stick with those three, or you could even add in or delete, so you can play with it. So let's go to start analysis. Once you have the one selected that you desire to use, and you can select all of them, you can select one of them, you can select
That
three.
was my question. Cool.
Yeah. Now, this is where it's really important. You see the focus. There's a focus, and it says, my aura is strong and stable,
Uh-huh.
right? So we're going to delete that because that's very generic and not specific to what we desire to change or shift. So what is your focus here?
feeling security and safety in my home at nighttime.
So I feel secure and safe in my home at night. And you could even add maybe more, you could maybe like I am divinely protected and supported in my home. So
Mm.
you can add some intentions that are linked to what you're focusing on, right? What else? I am divinely secure. I feel love and comfort in my home, things
Mhm.
like that. And then once you have your focus input there,
So this is really intention setting.
this is the Healy is an intentional device. It's like machine or technology augmented intention. So the Healy just takes our intuition intention and goes crazy with it, you know,
Mm.
takes it to the next level. So you really do want to you do need to um in my opinion, and you probably get other answers or other ideas, but um keep your focus in the positive. Keep your focus on what you desire to have, not what you're struggling with.
Mhm.
What do you desire to have? If you're really desiring to figure out what the block is to something, you could make the focus, I understand what I need to do or what actions I need to take in order to have what I want. So if you're desiring to figure out what the blocks are, then just maybe state it in that kind of way.
Uh-huh.
Now, under the analyze options, there's the three chakras that you have chosen, and then there's a number behind each one of those. Does yours have default to three?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that's the default. You can click on that number and change it. Like you could add five. You could put 5 or 10 or as many as you like. I think three is a good number, but you can play with that. You don't need to be limited to just three.
Okay.
And then there's that toggle switch at the bottom that's down here that says include,
With high negative relevancies.
yeah, include high negative relevancies. Now, I think this can be really powerful because the negative relevancies, so anytime you see a result in the scan that has negative before the percentage, that means that it's unconscious. You may have some idea of it consciously, but it's the Healy is picking up that it's a subconscious or an unconscious pattern that you're not quite aware of. And so I find those can be really powerful to shift things. So I tend to include the high negative relevancies. So if you're good to go ahead and start your analysis. And it's going to scan the three chakras or the whichever chakras you chose to work with. And then it's going
Okay.
to, and your results are going to include, you know, from the highest percentage to the lowest percentage for each of the chakras. And, you can go, it's helpful to read through these, the present state, the state description and the desired state, especially the last sentence of the desired state, I find can be really helpful. Um, because a lot of that desired state is just telling you what the themes are of that specific chakra. And then the last sentence or two will tell you specifically what's being addressed with this remedy. Because each one of these results is essentially a remedy. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh. And so the first one that comes up is the one that is of the most resonance or relevance.
Yeah, it's the one that has the strongest
Mhm.
resonance with the healing. Yeah.
It's my first chakra at 90%, which the first chakra is all about safety and security and grounded. And
Do you mind sharing what the theme, what the present state and the state description, or yeah.
the present state, I'm okay to share. Um, the present state is the person faces their conflicts at home, experiencing a perceived lack of harmony. Change is imminent.
Does that resonate?
Hmm.
What's the desired state, especially the last sentence of the desired state?
My home is a safe place full of harmony. I am in the flow of life.
I love it. So that's a beautiful affirmation that the Healy is going to be sending to you. And what is the present state description? The root chakra is
Shining in the color turquoise.
okay. So turquoise is you can pull up the aura cheat sheet PDF, which I'll include in the follow-up email. Well, there's only so many attachments I can include in those emails. So I'll see how I can do that. But turquoise is a transitional state. It means that that chakra is it's in the middle of change. You know, if it says black, that means that it's unconscious.
Okay. So the color carries some meaning and significance.
It does, yeah. So sometimes you'll have the crown, you know, for me, um, so I am love. I mean, so I was kind of doing a very generic scan for myself. And so my first remedy or card is 94% on the seventh chakra. And it says a connection with others and acceptance is only felt when everything is under one's own control. So that's interesting. So my crown chakra is shining in the solar plexus heart chakra color of yellow green. So it'll kind of give you like this is metaphor. It's not necessarily saying that your chakra is shining in a different color. It's really just telling you the crown chakra is kind of overlaid or being in it's you're more coming from the heart solar plexus area rather than the crown, you know.
Huh.
So hopefully as that shifts, you know, the chakra will be shining in the color of that chakra, which would be what, indigo, I believe. Um or purple for the seventh chakra.
Uh-huh.
Um so you'll get it just adds another little bit of a dimension to the information that you get.
May I share?
Hmm.
Under a desired state, it says harmonization of the topics: maternal relationship, money, home, work, trust in life, security, survival. Which all of those are some of the mental things that, my mind kind of, has chewed on at night. It goes through my mind at night. So
Right.
it's cool that it's
Yeah, it's helpful. I mean, it's a teaching tool too, right? Um,
right. It's reflecting. It's helping me see and become more aware,
there you
and
go,
see
awareness.
patterns and
Yeah. So, you know, it could be helpful for you to look at running the root chakra program in the Pink app, you know, for a while. Like run the root chakra program daily just to really support, you know, and maybe that's a good one to run with the microcurrent or with the coil. You could try both. But
I also have a set of Tree Frog Farms chakra uh, flower essences. I could take, you know, could use this to help guide, I could take my root chakra flower essence at nighttime.
right. You could even so let's do so can you go grab that root chakra essence blend? All right. So go ahead and pull out your root chakra essence blend. And what we're going to do is we're going to add we're going to add a remedy into this scan with the vibration of that essence. Okay. So
Okay.
you can still take it physically, but you can actually send it to yourself with the Healy. So go to actions, and you should have an option to add manually.
Uh-huh.
So add manually,
Okay.
and the desired state, put Tree Frog Farm, root chakra blend, root chakra flower essence blend. And then you could leave the desired state description empty. Um, you can play with that. You can add more there if you desire, but you don't need to. Then scroll down. You can leave the present state and the present state description and the background information all blank. And then you should come to relevance,
Right.
and that should be pre-selected at 100%. Leave that at
Right.
100%. And then slide the intensity over to 10.
Okay.
Okay. And then if you know potencies in homeopathy, you can play with the potency. There's lots of options. In this instance, we're going to just leave it at 0. Okay.
Okay.
Now click on add symbol.
Okay.
Now add image, and you're going to take a photo of the flower essence blend with your phone.
Okay.
And then I'm going to, and then let's hit record vibration. Well, actually, before you do that, put your Healy down on or hold it and put the flower essence on top of the Healy like this. I've got a homeopathic remedy I'm using, but right there you go. And then hit record vibration.
It's okay in my hand.
You could put it down, or it's fine in your hand. But
It's a little
if you want
uncomfortable.
to be clear about what
Right.
it's recording, just put it down on a table or something.
That's more comfortable for me too.
Okay. And then just let it record the vibration of the essence. That's the intention you're holding as the Healy scans the vibration.
Got it.
Okay. Now you can go,
This all feels very empowering.
isn't it? It's pretty awesome. So then you can just click the X by add symbol and get out of that screen, and then click the check mark to to
Save.
to save that. Yep. And so now you have every time you vibrate this set of essences or set of remedies to you, you're also sending yourself that blend.
Hmm.
Now, I'm curious. So you later on you can scroll through all the cards and see what all the information is and contemplate all that. But I'm curious when you've done aura scans, like, or when you're scanning or when you're vibrating things to yourself from the Blue app, how long are you typically doing it?
Uh, Anywhere from 30 minutes to 4 hours.
Hmm. Cool. And what do you?
Flower essences I usually do for 30 minutes to an hour.
Oh,
Um, my homeopathic remedies I've done for an hour or two
okay.
under the creative homeopathy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, let's just talk about time length of vibrating for a moment. Um, I think a lot of the documentation I've seen from my lineage is, and I think Healy recommends is like doing like 1 minute, or it's very small time frames. And for me, I feel like that's not enough to really go deep enough to create the shifts that I desire. And I remember fairly early on, within my 2 or 3 weeks of having my Healy, I decided to run, I think it was a coaching analysis to myself for like 8 hours overnight. And I remember the very next day, I was like so on point, so focused. I got a lot done. Like I felt this tremendous shift. I felt very positive. So for me, longer periods of time, especially when it comes to the aura analysis scan and the coaching, are really helpful for shifts. Now, you may find that you can't tolerate that length of time. So it's up to you. Like you gotta really feel into what works for you. Um, when it comes to the databases, like the flower essences, the botch, the Australian bush, the creative homeopathy, and those things, I have found that I typically do not vibrate the flower essences more than an hour or whatever that default time frame is. That's close to an hour, like 54, 55 minutes, whatever it is. Um, it just feels like it's too much to do it longer, you know. Or maybe if I'm desiring to really kind of assist myself into an intentional shift, I might do it longer, but
Mhm.
intentionally, because I'm setting aside time to be with what comes up. Because I have found often that with the flower essences, within the first 5 to 10 minutes, I'm having an emotional release. Not always, but it happens. It's happened enough. Um, and that can happen again, I think, the longer that you do it. Because it's kind of forcing, it's really pushing some shift in your consciousness awareness.
That
Uh,
happened to me this morning at the farmer's market.
did it?
Mhm.
Do you want to share?
Well, I was
What?
just running for an hour, and I was talking to somebody, and I just felt some emotion come up, and I just felt like I just you know could sit there and cry and just kind of release this just let the emotion kind of like move.
Beautiful,
Um,
beautiful. Welcome, Danette. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions. We've been going for a little over an hour now, so you'll get the recording when we're done. But I'm happy to, if you brought any specific questions, feel free to ask. But just to round out this topic of the length of vibration, I find that the flower essence groups, the Botch and the Australian flower essences, these are very potent remedies, and they definitely work on a soul, emotional, spiritual level. So, a little can go a long way. And again, that's dependent on what you are accustomed to. If you're new to homeopathy or new to flower essence or new to frequency, you might need to start slower and less time. But for me, I've been around homeopathy and frequencies for a long time, and so I require more than than what maybe Healy has recommended for people. Um, the creative homeopathy I found to be really powerful to help me understand things that are coming up. Um, and the description of the state of the remedy can be really helpful and eye-opening, right? And I found those can be vibrated for an hour longer. And then the Alaskan gem elixirs, what I find with those is that the gem elixirs are very supportive to the nervous system. They're like grounding, stabilizing. If you think about it, all the gems come from deep in the earth. So if you're feeling a little frazzled, if you're feeling like your nervous system is a little bit tense or overwhelmed, I think running the Alaskan gem elixirs for a length of time, an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever, can be helpful, or even overnight. Um, so you'll just have to play with it, and figure out what's your rhythm. Is that helpful?
mhm.
That's very helpful. I do have one question on the last webinar you did, and sorry I was late. My daughter was doing trapeze.
Oh, no
Um,
worries.
you talked about you put in some creative homeopathy things in Note or something. How did you do that? Because I finally found on my Healy how to get it, because when they made some update, I thought it was all gone, and I found the creative homeopathy. I was quite sad when I thought it was gone, because I found that through you. I've got a couple books, just so powerful, so
Mm.
powerful. But how did you put your list of remedies in?
Right, because you'll see that, there's only when you do the resonance scan with the database, the Creative Homeopathy database, it only gives you 5 remedies, right?
Right.
Which I really wish that we had the capacity to go in and select the remedies that we desire, and as many as we desired. Maybe I'll put in a support ticket to Healy to add that functionality
Right.
as maybe a practitioner level or something. I don't know. Um, so we did talk about this a little bit before you hopped on the call in a different
Okay.
way. But let me so do you have your Blue app?
I do. I don't have my Healy with
Okay.
me where I am, but I do have my app on my phone.
Okay. So you really require doing this under the aura analysis or the coach analysis. It's got to be in one of those two that you add things into, right?
Okay.
So when you have are you using the old Blue app or the new Blue app or
The new one.
new one? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just pull
Because
up
I
the
couldn't get into the old one anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it kind of was locking up, but but I finally got this one to work, and I found the creative homeopathy under the um
The database analysis.
database, but I couldn't figure out where you put the notes. And I thought I had bought the coil before, and I didn't, so I just bought that. That'll be shipping soon to me, because I can't be carrying this around and sleeping in it and choking myself.
Well, right. Well, and the cool thing about the Blue app is you don't need the coil or the wires to run the Blue app.
Okay, I didn't
Did
realize.
that.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's good. I
you-
did not realize that, because it says that it has to connect, whatever, and I thought it wouldn't work. So that's good. That's good to know.
yeah. So just for the Blue app, if you're doing the Pink app with the microcurrent or whatever, running those frequency programs, you do require the coil or the wires. But for the Blue app, you're just vibrating from the Healy itself, so it can be anywhere.
Cool.
You can vibrate remedies to someone across the world. Um, and do an analysis on somebody across the world, right?
All right.
So you don't ignore the database. If you're wanting to put in a list of remedies yourself manually, go
Okay.
to the Aura or Coach, and you're gonna do an Aura analysis. I'm actually just gonna pull up one that I did recently so I can streamline this.
Yeah.
Um, so you've got your results on
Hmm.
your phone of what's come up, what's going to be vibrated to you. And what you're going to do is you're going to click, I don't know if you can see it,
Yep.
the three
The
the
three
three
dots.
dots at the top right.
Okay.
Wait, no, not that one. That's where you can export the information as a PDF. You're actually going to hit add entry down here. See add entry there?
Got it. Okay.
Add entry, and it brings up this screen. So
Got
you
it.
can, in the desired state, you can copy and paste a list of remedies into that desired state.
Ah.
And typically what I do is I type, and I realize I don't really need to. I think all you really need to use is that desired state uh, field. And then scroll down to relevance. You should have relevance. And on the new Blue app, it defaults to 0%, and slide that over to 100%. So that pulls it up to the top of your list.
Got it. Okay.
And then intensity, take that to 10. And then potency. This is where you can select your potency.
Perfect.
Now, and there's D or X potency for people who know homeopathy. There's C potency and there's LM potency. So you have three choices of scale of potency. And then you've got lots of options between C1 or, all the way up to C1E to the 36 power, which is off the charts.
Right.
So, the only drawback for me here is that the Healy doesn't have the 10 mm potency. It has C1E6, which is the 1 mm potency.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes to 1E12, which is exponentially higher than 10 mm, right?
Right.
And then 1E24 is like 1 septillion, which is huge. I don't even know what 1E to the 36 is called. But if you look at your aura analysis cheat sheet or your coaching analysis cheat sheet, it'll tell you like what those potencies are really meant to address,
Okay.
which we talked about in my last webinar.
Yeah.
And these are really past life and ancestral potencies, right?
Correct.
So if you're really wanting to shift things on a very deep level, and if you look at your scan results, every once in a while you'll see something that has the potency of 1E24 or 1E36. That means that it's picking up something from the ancestry that you're still dealing with.
Yeah.
Right.
And we are literally, this is what I needed to get to this point, dealing with the ancestral. I'm just cleaning out somebody's home, finding all this information that tracks back, which I've known about in my family, but to be able to now have the pictures of them, to be able to do some of this work. This is super helpful.
Yeah. And you could even, so once you select your potency, you can go down to add symbol, and if there's something specific that you're trying to address with this list of remedies, you could take a picture of it. Or you could hold the Healy in your hand, or if it's a home, or if it's ancestors, you could put the Healy in front of a picture of your ancestors and record the vibration, and hold the intention that the Healy is recording the vibration of your ancestors. So what you're doing is you're just adding layer upon layer of complexity to the intention setting.
Right.
Right.
Perfect.
So it's really beautiful. Is that helpful? I think that should.
So this is perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. So this
Yeah.
is great.
Cool. So you can do that in both the coaching app and our module and the Aura module.
Great.
Cool. Any other questions that y'all have? I think it's time probably to close this down, but I'm happy to open another question or two.
Yeah, I think I'm good for now. I am gonna set up some appointments with you, but for this was great.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this.
You're very
You're great. You're very educational.
well. Thank you for that. And it's such a it's a powerful tool, and the problem that I've run into with some people in the Healy community is that they kind of buy their device from someone who doesn't stay in connection with them, and they're unsupported, because it is a learning curve to use it. It takes
Yeah. Everything is, right?
right. So I would recommend going back. There's a few things that we cover in the hour before you hopped on that might be helpful for you to hear.
Oh, I will definitely rewatch for sure.
And I'll share the lunch and learn replay from my friend as well.
Yes.
But really, really great to connect with you guys this morning. And thanks for bringing your questions and your awareness and participation. And yeah, I hope you're finding the Healy to be a transformative ally.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was right what I needed when you advertised, like you shared what it was. It was the exact time I was asking for, I need the next level thing. And there it was. It's been great. It has been a learning curve, but I'm figuring it out.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, feel free to email me with any questions, and lots of
Thank you, Dave.
love.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.